Good day, everyone, and welcome to the final God of War Ascension's how to build. It was brought to my attention that I could have been a little bit more clear, especially for people who were very new to utilizing emulation and RPCS3. So this is going to be my most granular video to date. I hope that with this video, you can be educated on pretty much everything except for theft and piracy. I've tried to make it clear in the past that my version of God of War Ascension came from a CFW PS3 and physical copy of God of War Ascension. It's how I got all of my PS3 games. I don't really know where you can download the games, but I'm going to show you the file structure, what you should be looking for if you are looking for a copy off the internet. Just let's say you own a physical copy and you're looking for a copy to run on RPCS3 instead of doing a firmware hack, or you own a dead or yellow blinking light PS3 or something along those lines. I want to at least help people understand what they're looking for, because there have been websites that people have been getting the game from, and the game seems to be formatted in an ISO file and not loading into RPCS3. I don't know how to load an ISO file into RPCS3. I've never done that. So I don't know. It also seems like people do not know what the BCUS stands for or why that is relevant. So I want to go over that using game serialization and just give you a general understanding of everything we're getting into today. So this is a pretty complicated guide. This is not easy for a lot of people. It's not easy to get your head around, especially if you don't know software, if you don't know how emulators work. So to give you a little background, emulators are essentially running in code a PS3 on your computer. The application itself is simulating both the graphics processor and CPU processor of a PS3, and then essentially it's verifying and allowing you to launch PS3 games within the emulator. It's a very complicated process that takes a lot of training, a lot of practice to do. Some things are easier than others. If you've ever tried to emulate N64 in the past, you might know that it was never really amazing until recently. GameCube and Wii also struggled for a little bit, but have gotten a lot better. Xbox Original and Xbox 360 are at one point considered impossible, as well as PS3. But we have made a lot of strides, especially within the communities, to get those functioning correctly. But they're still going to be imperfect. They're not one-to-one comparisons. So there's going to be hiccups. It's going to be imperfect no matter what. Let's go ahead and hop into the computer here. I already have a bunch of stuff pulled up here that I wanted to show. So this is serialstation.com, and I'm looking at BCUS98232, which is God of War Ascension, which is the one that I use in my instruction videos on how to set it up. So the title ID is BCUS, and the title ID number is 98232. However, if we go over and we take a look at the ps3eldotools.org and we just type in God of War, you'll see that there are a bunch of different versions. So you have BCES, you have NPEA, you have BCET. There's a lot of different versions here. So if you're going to be following along with this video, you have to have the BCUS 98232. That is the only one that I will be working with. That is the only one I know. And yeah, that's just how this kind of stuff works. Think of it like a line of code, and it's looking to match up with something. And if it doesn't match up, it will not work. So as I spoke of earlier in the previous videos, you must have this downloaded onto your computer right here. BCUS98232 GoW Ascension version 1.04. We need this because in our PCS3, as I will show later, will need to be installed on top of God of War Ascension. It needs to be patched to version 1.04 in order for the modded patches made by the RPCS3 community to be injected to remove things. So if you're crashing or having PPU thread issues, typically that's a bad installation. So I want to show you what my file structure for God of War Ascension is. So it's right here. So as you can see, I have PS3 Extra, PS3 Game, PS3 Disc. This is whatever CFW I'm using in FileZilla, when I run the program, this is what it creates. It looks like this. So if I click on this, like this is a functioning JPEG. This is a functioning JPEG. There are files in here that I can open within my PC, but this is essentially what you want it to look like. If you're getting ISO files or you're not getting it to look like this, that's wrong. So you might have to create a folder like I do here and mark it for what it is, and that way you can put PS3 Extra, PS3 Game, PS3 Disc. If you're not using 7-zip, I mean, if you have an ISO file, this is worth a try. Try unzipping it with 7-zip. I can actually attempt to package an ISO, and I can check for myself. So I'm going to go package up an ISO off my CFW, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I checked my PS3, and I actually cannot output in an ISO format. Even when I tried to, it just wouldn't and would not allow me to. However, on screen is a website that was brought to my attention several times in the comment sections. If I was using this one, if I wasn't doing this one. No, I'm not. I'm using my copy. If you are pulling from this said website, it's very important to note right here, it says BCUS99188. So if you are pulling this version, it also is stating it is packaged in an ISO format. So you might have two layers that you need to decrypt at that point. So you need, if it's packaged in a 7-zip zip file, whatever, make sure you're unzipping it using 7-zip and then accessing the ISO. You could probably do that with 7-zip as well. And again, you want these files here. If you don't have those files there, the project will not work. If you're going to use BCUS99188, which is the English region, again, let's go to Eldo's tools here, and let's try BCUS 99188. There is nothing. This one will not work according to what I am reading, what I am looking at right now. This version simply will not work. There is no title update for it, nothing. So yeah, you need to source yourself a copy of the one that I am showing, BCUS98232. Where to get it, again, I do not know. But what I do know is, and I emailed this person and I let them know BCUS99188 is not working. I'm guessing BCUS99188 isn't working at all. We can check Serial Station here. Like I said, this is going to be a very granular going over everything. So let's try BCUS99188. Yeah, I'm not finding anything on BCUS99188. I don't know what this is. I don't know if this website. Okay, here we go. BCUS99188. That's all we get. Release date unknown, edition unknown, barcode unknown. Yeah, published serial, that would be 99188, but we're not getting any information here. We're not getting updates. We're not getting anything, because 98232 is the one that the community is using to build this into RPCS3. BCUS 98232 is the most important. Now, how do you identify what version you have within RPCS3? Let's say you already followed along with the previous video and you already did things. So you're just going to check your RPCS3. And as you can see, GoW Ascension is this line right here. And this is our serial tag, BCUS 98232. That's what you want to see right there. So if you're attempting to download this from somewhere, you just need to verify that what you are getting is version 1.00, because it'll always be default when you go out and download something. It will not come with patches, and if it does come with patches, that's just somebody who's distributing with the patches usually. But this is what you want to see. BCUS 9. I can't hammer this home enough. This is very important for this guide. I managed to package up Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I don't know if this is even going to work. This wasn't a disc, but apparently it made a disc. We'll see. I made this when I was trying to export whatever off of the CFW. Custom, that means custom firmware, PS3, by the way. So how do you get RPCS3? Let's start there. That is the most basic place to start. So you're going to go to, did I not open it? I didn't. You're going to go to RPCS3, which they have there. We do not condone piracy, which is what I'm stating. And we want to go to download. And we're going to grab the 21.4 megabyte Windows Edition. I made these folders on the desktop so we can have a better understanding of what I'm doing. So here we have RPCS3. As you can see, I have a 7-zip allocation here. What is that? Okay. We're going to go to 7-zip. And what you're going to download is the 64-bit x64 version here. Just go ahead and run it. Let that install. If you've never used this before and you want to use this only, which I recommend, right click, show more properties, change, go to browse apps, or choose an app on your PC, program files, 7-zip FM, set as your default. Okay, so that's how you get 7-zip to work correctly. Go ahead and take your RPCS3 file, right click and drag it, right click, extract here, delete. We now have RPCS3 on our desktop. However, this is a unfunctioning RPCS3, as I will show, because we are doing everything here today. So I'm going to take Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles here and just copy it over. And as you can see, my serial is BLUS31536. We'll also take our GoW Ascension, copy it over, BCUS98232, version 1. So what's going to happen here is if I go here and I hit play, it'll say commercial games require the firmware PS3 update.pup. Well, what is that? That's actually really easy to answer. We're just going to go over here, go to the PlayStation 3 website, or PlayStation.com, /en-us support hardware PS3 system software. And you're just looking to grab the PlayStation 3 system software here, which is update 489. Now, I can't download this in Brave. I'm going to go ahead and open this and download it in a different screen. And again, I'm not editing this. I'm showing you guys everything. No, I edited earlier, but you know what I mean. We're going to keep this open here. And once you have your PS3 data pup, we're just going to take that and put it into RPCS3, like so. And we're going to install that firmware. Once you have the firmware installed, it'll compile the PPU modules. You're just going to let this continue like normal. I'm sorry for some people who are probably like, well, this video is long. That's the point. Okay, we have that. Now, I want to pull something up real quick, and I want to make something a little bit clear again. Delete that. I need to go to my pictures, screenshots. This one. Okay. So if you're one of the people who has BCUS98188 and is trying to get the 1.04 patch for this, I don't know. If you can source a patch for the community, let them know. Maybe rehost it or something like that. I don't know about the legality of distributing updates. I also don't know the legality of so-and-so distributing this, but yeah, if you can find the 0.04 update for BCUS 99188, that would be huge, probably help a lot of people. Like I said, I did email this person and I let them know that they want to be hosting BCUS 98232 because that is the functioning GoW Ascension. So next we need to do our configuration. So from here, we're only going to right click the game and we're going to manage custom configuration, create custom configuration right there. Now, a great website for reference if you decide to go off and do this on your own. That's my CFW. Is going to be taking your title ID, or yeah, title ID type. Actually, let's take this over to DuckDuck. I can't wait to get a new keyboard. So if we type that in, you'll on the third one on DuckDuckGo, excuse me, allergies. GoW Ascension BCUS 98232 RPCS3. This is going to take you to the forum. Please use the forum. The comment sections aren't going to be that helpful. The forum is going to be a place where the most people with the most knowledge are going to be able to help you. So if you have issues, this is the greatest place for you to go. But we're going to go ahead and type in wiki. And we are looking for not a thread, but we're looking for the RPCS3 wiki itself. Which is going to be this web page here. So from this web page, this is a lot of information that you can utilize to help better understand your usage of RPCS3, as this is usually an organization of the average working build in most situations. Now, my system in particular, as I've stated before, is very powerful. I have a RTX 3080, I have a 12700K, 32 gigabytes of RAM. This computer is pretty powerful. However, I did confirm that I can get God of War Ascension running on a Steam Deck. I had it running on a Fire Pro W 5100 on a Gen 5 processor. I think it was a 5490K or something like that. It was an older GPU, or CPU rather. So within our settings here, we're just going to go to the CPU configuration table here. And we're also going to go over here and take a look. And here you can see we have BCUS98232. As you can see, I don't see the BC that was on that one website. So if we can pull up that picture one more time. We have BCUS99188. I'm not seeing BCUS here anywhere. So I don't know what this is. It was on Serial ID, so maybe this is the digital download or something like that. I don't know. But I wouldn't use this version because there's no information on it anyways. I would specifically look for BCUS 98232 as I have confirmed that it is working and to my knowledge is the only working version. CPU block size, we're going to be changing that to mega. We're going to go over to the GPU configuration tab here. You want that on Vulkan. You want that on your graphics card. This will not be changed. You're just looking for Z-call accuracy, and we're going to change that to approximate. Right color buffers need to be on, which is over here in the additional settings. I'm going to go ahead and turn that on. Next, we'll be going over to the advanced configuration. We're going to select accurate RSX reservation access, and we're going to turn that on. So we just need to locate that, which is the third check mark here. Next, we're going to go to sleep timers accurate as host, which is here. And we're going to go to RSX FIFO accuracy, and we're going to make that atomic, which is here. Next, we're going to apply and save custom configuration. Now, technically, the game will launch as is. However, we need to get the update for BCUS 98232. 98232. Now we want version 1.04. That's the only one we want. In the previous video, I updated from version 1.04 all the way to 1.12. Nothing works here. You can only work with 1.04 and 1.12. It's confirmed that is just how it works with this version. So we're only going to use version 1.04. Again, BCUS 98232. BCUS 98232 version 1.04. I harp on this because it's the most important information here. So we're going to take our patch data here, downloaded from Eldo's tools, bring that into our PCS3, and we're going to allow it to update. Once you do this, if you want, you can add a desktop shortcut, etc. We are still not ready. We're going to right-click the game and manage the game patches. We're going to be prompted to download the new patches, and we are. We're going to do the down arrow here, version 1.04, and we're going to turn on skip intro, unlock FPS, and we're going to disable depth of field, MLAA, and motion blur for performance reasons. We want to make sure we have skip intro enabled and unlock FPS enabled, so make sure you hit apply and save. From here, you are done. At this point, God of War Ascension should run correctly. So let's go ahead and just turn down my audio because it's going to be really loud. And don't forget, this is 100% a fresh installation of RPCS3. This is a cloned version of my God of War Ascension. So this is as fresh as it gets for my PC. Just let it do its thing. I'm also going to change it in the mixer. As you can see, we have completely skipped over the intro title sequence for the game, and we are now here. My controller isn't set up yet, so let's go ahead and close it, pads, and we're just going to set this up. So I believe this is X input. Yeah. So I'm using an X input Xbox One controller. So we have functioning controller. Let's restart. And we should load into a cutscene here. Go ahead and skip that. And we are in game. Now, just like in my playthrough of this that I did, just to confirm that the game is completable, which I will show, I'm going to launch RPCS3 from my dedicated drive. God of War Ascension, 8 hours and 44 minutes in game, complete. I completed the game 100%. Well, not 100%. I didn't do everything in the game, but I went from start to the end and played all the way through God of War Ascension. And this was actually with an imperfect build. I can get better performance now with the knowledge that I have. So take that for what it is. I learned along the way, just like I'm trying to teach and inform everybody along the way. So I just want to really quick clarify. BCUS98232 is the only version I can confirm works. You need your title ID and your serial ID to be that. It's very finicky. It's very picky. That's just how this kind of stuff functions. It's annoying, but it's just the way it is. Now, not every game needs to be BCUS. Things can be different. It just depends on its region, how it's configured. Some games don't even have patches. They just work as is. Just keep that kind of stuff in mind when you watch this video, because I had to remove comments that were linking to download files asking if that one will work. I'm not going to verify that kind of stuff. And I can't verify that kind of stuff. There are laws in my area that I am going to follow because I want to have a YouTube that is not deleted and I'm not being pressed for $10,000 or up to 7 years in jail. The picture that I showed you, obviously I'm not telling you where that was hosted, but I am clarifying that if it looks like this and it doesn't say the exact title ID I have said 1,000 times throughout this video, it is wrong. You need the exact one that I am clarifying, and you need the exact update I am clarifying. um, because there are only so many things that will work. If it is packaged up in an ISO folder, again, open it up in 7-zip, you're looking for this. If the contents of that folder do not look like this, it might not be legitimate. This is what you want to see, specifically the BCUS98232, which I have now memorized because I have said it 1,000 times. That is what you want. I don't think any of you guys were dumb. Um, it's not easy. It's a complicated procedure to get God of War Ascension running on RPCS3. And like I said earlier, it's because they're imperfect. These emulators are not the smartest. They are crowdsourced, created by the community, and this was one that was stated to not be functioning. And I wanted to throw my hat into the ring, and I purchased different versions of God of War Ascension, and I found the one that worked, and I found the patches that worked, and I confirmed that it worked. And that is what this guide is. This guide, if you follow it note for note, should work even on slightly older systems. As long as your system is using Vulkan, and just so you know, even on older systems, if you're having issues, as I've stated before, right click, change custom configuration, GPU, enable FSR upscaling. This could increase your performance. However, remember, do not change the default resolution, do not change the resolution scale, do not change the resolution threshold, and do not change the sharpening strength. Because of the patches that we're using, the custom patches, it could break them. So these patches here could be broken by you changing those variables. Do not change them. As of right now, BCUS 98232 version 1.04 is functioning as long as you follow this guide to a T. I really do hope that this video helps people. I'm probably not going to be commenting too much anymore. I try to be as helpful as I can, but my resources at this point have been pretty much exhausted. Uh, this is the extent of my knowledge. I am not a programmer for RPCS3. I'm not a member of the community of RPCS3. I just like to work on projects, and I thought this one was interesting. Um, that's really about all I can say. The wiki is going to be your best place to get information as well as the forums. Important to realize that if you're having issues, make sure you're giving people a lot of information. Give them your serial information. What update are you running? What are your configurations? What is your hardware? These are things that matter because in some situations you might just have to change your custom configuration from Vulkan to OpenGL. Or you might have to get some patch to run DirectX 10 or DirectX 9. These are things that exist, but if you're just like, PPU threads are mishandled, what do I do? That's not enough information for me to make an accurate assumption to help anybody. If you are saying, I'm loading my titles, well, I already know you're doing something wrong because our patches straight up say, skip intro. So you shouldn't be citing title cards. If you're seeing title cards, you didn't follow along with the video. You went off and did your own thing. And in most situations, I don't want to respond to that because I'm trying to be as granular and as positive to the community as I can by producing a video that I can recreate and reproduce on different systems. I have tested this method on several systems at this point. Steam Deck, a MSI GF63. I did it on a RTX 3080. I did it on a RX or R9 388 gigabyte. I did it on a FirePro 5100. I did it on a 1650 Max Q. I have not run into the issues that I have seen, and I think it comes down to people downloading the wrong serial ID. They're downloading from that popular website that I took a screenshot of, because that is a website that I commonly saw in my comment section. And they're probably trying to patch it with BCUS98232 because it's easy. I don't know. I cannot tell you where to go because I do not know where to go. And I probably never will know where to go, because when I use our PCS3, I download FileZilla, I connect a Ethernet cable to my PC, I turn on my PS3, I run a firmware that packages it up, and I use FileZilla to take it off of my computer or off of my PS3 and store it on my PC. Some people have asked me if I can give them my files. No, that is distribution, and where I live, that is piracy and illegal. I cannot host it. In fact, the files that are on my computer are on a cold storage that are read-only and need administrator access to even move. I'm sorry, but laws are laws. And like I said, this kind of stuff is not easy. And I'm sorry that it's not easy. I wish it was. But I want to make it as accessible as I can. And this is the extent of what I can give you. I don't know any more than this. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope that you learned something today and you can use this information to get it running. Have a great one.